Good morning, Belinda Brown. Hey, girl. Hey, we live on YouTube now. I know you know I'm over on YouTube, but it just came up. It was a couple minutes late pulling it up. My laptop, I didn't realize my battery was so low. I had to plug it in, wait for it to boot up real quick. But if you want to go over there, we there. All right, y'all. Happy Friday. As my girl Shayla said, free your mind Friday. All right, y'all. So it is day 69 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 738. It is Friday, February 5th, 2021. Y'all, today we are in Numbers 10, 11, and 12, and then we're going to hop right on over to the Legends of the Jews. Oh, but first, before we start, I know, but at least everybody in Hampton Roads or in Virginia got the alert. If you got a cell phone, there was another Amber Alert yesterday, y'all. Like, I was sitting on the side of the bed yesterday, and I was reading something. I was reading over some paperwork, and I was reading over some paperwork, and I had to look up something. And when I picked up my phone, I was scrolling, looking, and all of a sudden that loud blaring message, good rising, Nikki, good rising, the loud blaring message that they send out with Amber Alerts, burr, 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 burr. I was like, oh, because when it was live the other day, I think because I was like recording a video live on my phone and it didn't give off the alarm. It just popped up in the middle of the screen and kind of like covered the screen. That's why I was like, whoa, wait, what? But yesterday, it was blaring loud. So I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, wait, is this another one? And I had to pause for a second because it was another 3-month-old baby who was kidnapped, right? I was like, wait. And so I paused for a second. I was like, is this, why didn't they remove this? But when I clicked on it, I saw it was a different baby. And it was one of ours. When I say one of ours, from our nation, right? And I immediately, what got my attention was that it was another 3-month-old baby. Now, the first one, we found out that the mom, and I tell people, do not leave your car running when you run into the store. 3-month-old baby, she pulled up to the Wawa. Well, if you don't know what a Wawa is, it's like a 7-Eleven gas station. She ran into the Wawa, left her car running with her most precious possession in there unguarded, door unlocked, ready to go for any thief and vagabond. And they found her this day, right? They took her car. Remember, we stopped right in the middle of what we was doing. We prayed for the baby and everything. And they even this day, even today, that baby will be found. That baby was taken from a Wawa close by here, like literally here. Like in my neighborhood, the Wawa down the street, literally, that we always go to get gas from. I was like, oh, now I'm side-eyeing Wawa. And, and the people around here, right? But that was here in Chesapeake. We got the update that the baby was found a couple cities over in Norfolk, Virginia, right? And so the Amber Alert was canceled. Blessed be the Most Holy, the baby was found safe. And they also found the car. I'm not sure if they found the person yet who took the car, kidnapped the baby. I'm sure they stole the car without realizing that there was precious cargo in the back. But whoever it was, they actually took the baby to a neighborhood and set it under like an apartment complex. Took the baby out, still in the car seat. The baby was unharmed. Took the baby out, put it in at the apartment complex under a stairwell. Took off with the vehicle, but they did find the vehicle probably, I think they said it was like 2 miles away from where the baby was dropped off at. The baby was unharmed, and they still haven't said if they caught the person, the suspect or whatever, who actually stole the car and kidnapped the baby, right? Ended well, so thank the Most Holy. But when this one went off, they actually had a picture ready to show with this baby, and like I said, this baby was one of ours. And so the first one I didn't know, but it's a baby, kidnapping, shouldn't happen. But when I saw the picture, there was something in me that was stirred this time. It was stirred in me last time, but because I saw who the baby was, I was like, Father, that baby is one of ours. I said, and I know every Black person is not Israel, but Israel is Black. I said, if that is one of ours, one of the sons of Zion, I said, Father, dispatch Michael, because Michael stands up for us. I said, and these are the days, let Michael begin to stand up for us. Because if you read the book of Daniel, it tells us that in these days, as we're returning to the Most Holy and we're returning to his laws, his statutes, and his commands, that he will begin to fight for us again. And the angel, remember, there is an angel set over every nation of people. And over Israel, it's the archangel Michael. That's what the book of Daniel said. In these times, Michael will stand up for us, So I was like, Father, let Michael, dispatch Michael. I said, and go get that baby, blessed be the Most Holy. That baby was found within an hour of our prayer. And it's funny because, like, my teenagers, the teenagers in my family, they kind of watching me like in this family group with like the teenagers in my family. So even Jeremiah, boom, Mom's another one. Send it to my phone. I know, like, he become running in the room and stuff. Like, look, another baby. He said, what is going on? My oldest son, he sent it to the family group and stuff. I was like, yep. I had already begun to pray for the baby by the time everybody started sending it to me. And even Joshua, my 10-year-old, he has this habit of daily picking up my phone, going through my notifications, right? I'm like, why are you looking at my notifications, Josh? I don't know. I'm just saying if it's something for me. Something for you with my notifications on my cell phone. Oh, well, I was looking for PUBG. I was like, okay, so next time say that you're looking for notifications for PUBG. But in his looking for notifications, he saw that. He said, wait, is this the same baby from yesterday? He said, I thought that was a white baby. I said, it is. I said, that notification is from today. He said, oh my gosh. I said, calm down. We already prayed. The baby has been found safe and he is back with his mother as we speak. He said, why do people keep kidnapping babies? I said, Joshua, I don't know. I said, but when we find out about it, we pray about it. And the Most Holy has always answered our prayers. That's why I say up until this day, the Father has answered our prayers, right? So, but yeah, I just wanted to share that if y'all saw that. But yeah, okay, so the person that kidnapped this baby, it gave a little more description. They didn't give the nationality of the person, but they said an unidentified babysitter. But she had on it was a female who took the baby, and she had on a black jacket and was wearing a black mask on her face and stuff. But they found this baby a long way away from here, right? So apparently this had happened earlier in the day. And it was like a few hours after it had happened before the Amber Alert actually went out, So I'm like, well, why did they take so long? So I was reading through the stuff, but of course they was like checking everywhere. They had called the police, but they didn't do the Amber Alert until they were absolutely certain that this was like I was like, well, the baby was missing, period. But what was scary was this baby was found in Chesterfield, Virginia. This baby was taken from here, couple cities over, where my sisters and them live at, in Newport News, Virginia. They found him in Chesterfield, Virginia, hours away. I'm like, oh, blessed be the Most Holy that this baby was found safe. So, like literally after we prayed that prayer, like in that one, I felt the other prayer, but I felt this prayer. I don't know. It was a little different because I actually saw the baby and saw that he was possibly of our nation, and I was like, Father, send Michael to get this baby and arrest. And sometimes when I say arrest, not necessarily arrest them by the cops, but when I say arrest, may you like arrest them in their tracks, like cause the angels to appear to them and arrest their souls to where they can't do anything. I was like, I don't care if you arrest them so much where they go turn themselves in and bring this baby back safe. I said, but please don't let any harm come to this baby. They got that person in custody. Like they got the baby and they got her. So, but they didn't give any more information about that other than that they have that suspect in custody who took that baby. All right, y'all. So I wanted to give an update on that. So if y'all got babies, I'll keep Yahuwah's commands, right? He said, those who keep my commands, I keep them. We ain't got to worry about stuff like that, and don't do nothing foolish. Like, don't leave your kids in the car while you're running the stove and leave your car running, right? I don't ever do that unless Jeremiah is with me in the front seat, and I still don't leave the car running, and I still don't leave my keys. I'm taking my keys. I'm running to 7-Eleven real quick. Sit right here. Y'all know not to unlock. Jeremiah about almost near grown man. He's 17 years old, but still, I'm taking my keys, locking the doors, Don't touch it. I got the key to get back in. And I can see y'all right there because I'm just going to the counter, right? But I don't dare leave my smaller kids. Like if I need to run to the store and they want to come, either you're going to stay here, especially if I don't feel like I'm buckling you. No, stay here at the house, coming right back. But don't ever, people, don't ever. I know most of us know that, but just in case somebody come across this video that is carrying precious cargo with them. And we always thought, oh, it's just going to be real quick, run in and run out. But you can see the kind of devastation that can happen in a matter of seconds. Don't chance it, people, especially not with your family, not with your children, especially not with children who cannot defend themselves. Thank the Most Holy for Amber Alerts that come out and people hear it and pray, right? And so we can involve the host of heaven, right? Because a lot of times I think sometimes, here's my thoughts, it may not be true, but a lot of times I believe that the angels just be sitting around twiddling their thumbs because most of the time people not praying, they don't give them anything to do. Like they're messengers and they're servants for us. But a lot of time, if we're not imploring the help of heaven, it's like, what are they doing? All they need to do is just ask the Father. We right there, right? You know, I don't know. I think that sometimes, but so I use my prayers wisely. But anyway, y'all, let's get started. Let's start with this shimmer. You know, so I wanted to say that because I didn't know if y'all had saw that second one, possibly ignored it, thought it was from like literally the day before. Like this happened 2 consecutive days in a row. And it's crazy because both of the babies were 3 months old. 3 months old. I'm like, what's going on? Somebody made a comment. They said something, I don't know, I guess in the trafficking world or whatever. They looking for babies. Like, I'm like, what are you going to do with babies? Like, 3-month-old babies. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It's sickening and it pisses me off just to think about it, right? Okay, let's go here to the shimmer, y'all. All right. So remember, the shimmer is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6. Dana, hey girl, hey. Oh, I keep them busy as much as I be asking. Oh yeah, the angels, keep your angels busy. Yeah, I'm telling you. Shoot. Now I know we can add we can literally implore the help of heaven. Like I be using the prayers now. I see results. Like when I started to get when that really started to sink in for me a couple years ago, and especially now since I know that the archangel Michael stands up and fights for us. It's like he's the angel that like Yahuwah dispatches when things are happening, not just him, but he's like the head dude, right? I'm like, Father, send Michael himself on this one. I said, no more of our babies, right? Because we know the travesties that's happened with our babies. You know, you simply just need to say alligator bait, and everybody know. It pisses me off just to think about it, right? We ain't having no more of that. No, Yahuwah said never again. All right. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily as Yahuwah, the God of our fathers, has promised us in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, he is one God. And you shall love Yahuwah your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah our God for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do these commandments before Yahuwah our God as he has commanded us. Okay, beautiful people. Shalom, Josiah. Shalom. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Let's go ahead on over here the numbers, y'all. Numbers chapter 10. Okay. All right. Here we go, y'all. That's good. Okay. Now Yahuwah said to Moses, make 2 trumpets of hammered silver for calling the community to assemble and for signaling the breaking of camp. When both trumpets are blown, everyone must gather before you at the entrance of the tabernacle. But if only one trumpet is blown, then only the leaders, the heads of the clans of Israel, must present themselves to you. When you sound a signal to move on, the tribes camped on the east side of the tabernacle must break camp and move forward. When you sound the signal a second time, the tribes camped on the south will follow. You must sound short blasts as the signal for moving on. But when you call the people to an assembly, blow the trumpets with a different signal. Only the priests, Aaron's descendants, are allowed to blow the trumpets. This is a permanent law for you to be observed from generation to generation. When you arrive in your own land and go to war against your enemies who attack you, sound the alarm with the trumpets. Then Yahuwah, your God, will remember you and rescue you from your enemies. Blow the trumpets in the times of gladness too, sounding them at your annual festivals and at the beginning of each month. And blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings and peace offerings. The trumpets will remind your God of his covenant with you. I am Yahuwah, your God. In the second year after Israel's departure from Egypt, on the 20th day of the second month, the cloud lifted from the tabernacle of the covenant. So the Israelites set out from the wilderness of Sinai and traveled on from place to place until the cloud stopped in the wilderness of Paran. When the people set out for the first time, following the instructions Yahuwah had given through Moses, Judah's troops led the way. They marched behind their banner, and their leader was Nahshon, son of Amminadab. They were joined by the troops of the tribes of Issachar, led by Nathaniel, son of Zur, and the troops of the tribe of Zebulun, led by Eliab, the son of Helon. So if y'all ever been in like the church world or the messianic world, and you ever heard the term "and Judah shall lead the way," this is where they pulled it from right here, because every time they set out, Judah led the way and all the other clans followed behind in succession in the order Yahuwah prescribed behind Judah. And then the tabernacle was taken down, and the Gershonite and the Merarite divisions of the Levites were next in line of march, carrying the tabernacle with them. Reuben's troops went next, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Eliezer, the son of Shedeur. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Simeon, led by Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai, and the troops of the tribe of Gad, led by Elisab, the son of Duel. Next came the Kohathite division of the Levites, carrying the sacred objects from the tabernacle. Before they arrived at the next camp, the tabernacle would already be set up at its new location. Ephraim's troops went next, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Elishama, the son of Ammihud. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Manasseh, led by Gamaliel, son of Pedahhazer, and the troops of the tribe of Benjamin, led by Abidan, son of Gideoni. Dan's troops went last, marching behind their banner and serving as the rear guard for all the tribal camps. Their leader was Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Asher, led by Pagiel, son of Achran, and the troops of the tribe of Naphtali, led by Ahira, son of Enan. This was the order in which the Israelites marched, division by division. One day, Moses said to his brother-in-law, Hobab, son of Ruel, the Midianite, "We are on our way to the place Yahuwah promised us, for he said, I will give it to you. Come with us and we will treat you well, for Yahuwah has promised wonderful blessings for Israel." But Hobab replied, "No, I will not go. I must return to my own land and family." "Please don't leave us," Moses pleaded. "You know the places in the wilderness where we should camp. Come, be our guide. If you do, we'll share with you all the blessings Yahuwah gives us." They marched for 3 days after leaving the mountain of Yahuwah, the ark of Yahuwah's covenant moving ahead of them to show them where to stop and rest. As they moved on each day, the cloud of Yahuwah hovered over them. And whenever the ark set out, Moses would shout, Arise, O Yahuwah, and let your enemies be scattered. Let them flee before you. And when the ark was set down, he would say, Return, O Yahuwah, to the countless thousands of Israel. All right, y'all, let's move on to Numbers chapter 11. Soon the people began to complain about their hardship, and Yahuwah heard everything they said. Then Yahuwah's anger blazed against them, and he sent a fire to rage among them, and he destroyed some of the people in the outskirts of the camp. Then the people screamed for Moses' help, and when he prayed to Yahuwah, the fire stopped. After that, the area was known as Taberah, which means the place of burning, because fire from Yahuwah had burned among them there. And then the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to crave the good things of Egypt, and the people of Israel also began to complain. Oh, for some meat, they exclaimed. We remember the fish we used to eat for free in Egypt, and we had all the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic we wanted, but now our appetites are gone. All we ever see is this manna. First of all, did we forget how miraculous the manna is? Did not the manna take on the taste and flavor of anything we desire, anything we thought about? If we wanted steak, it tasted like steak. If we wanted pizza, it tasted like pizza. If we wanted ice cream, it tasted like ice cream, right? That's what it said. But they complaining. Why? Because they got vagabonds among them, right? They got rebels among them. That's why you should be careful about who you hang around with, because if they're stronger in their ways than you are, it's going to rub off on you and you're going to find yourself in trouble, which is what we see is about to happen. All we ever see is this man. Hold on, man. Let me just go back up. Let me read verse 4 again. Then the foreign rabble, or the vagabonds, or those who were not Israel, then the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to crave the good things of Egypt, and the people of Israel also began to complain. Oh, for some meat, they exclaimed. We remember the fish we used to eat for free in Egypt, and we had all the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic we wanted, but now our appetites are gone. All we ever see is this manna. The manna looked like small coriander seeds, and it was a pale yellow like gum resin, and the people would go out and gather it from the ground. They made flour by grinding it with hand mills or pounding it in mortars. Then they boiled it in a pot and made it into flat cakes. These cakes tasted like pastries baked with olive oil. The manna came down on the camp with the dew during the night. Moses heard all the family standing in the doorways of their tents whining, and Yahuwah became extremely angry. Moses was also very aggravated. And Moses said to Yahuwah, why are you treating me, your servant, so harshly? Have mercy on me. What did I do to deserve the burden of all these people? Did I give birth to them? Did I bring them into the world? Why did you tell me to carry them in my arms like a mother who carries a nursing baby? How can I carry them to the land you swore to give to their ancestors? Where am I supposed to get meat for all these people? They kept whining to me, saying, give us meat to eat. I didn't carry all these people all by myself. The load is too far heavy. If this is how you intend to treat me, just go ahead and kill me. Do me a favor and spare me this misery. You just think about like when your teenagers come to you and they just going on and on and on and on and on and on, and you just looking at them like something you was gonna provide anyway. But I mean, you said it, but apparently they weren't picking it up. Oh my gosh, I gotta do all this. I gotta get this, that, and this. And you're just looking at them like, are you done? Are you done? Then Yahuwah said to Moses, gather before me 70 men who are recognized as elders and leaders of Israel. Bring them to the tabernacle to stand there with you. I will come down and talk to you there. I will take some of the spirit that is upon you, and I will put the spirit upon them also. They will bear the burden of the people along with you, so you will not have to carry it alone. And say to the people, purify yourselves, for tomorrow you will have meat to eat. You were whining, and Yahuwah heard you when you cried, oh, for some meat. We were better off in Egypt. Now Yahuwah will give you meat, and you will have to eat it. And it won't be just for a day or two or for 5 or 10 or even 20. You will eat it for a whole month until you gag and are sick of it. For you have rejected Yahuwah who is here among you, and you have whined to him, saying, why did we ever leave Egypt? Like, I would have been like, oh shoot, we in trouble. Like, he ain't giving us this meat now because he wanted to give it to us, because what he was giving us was far better than this. He said, oh, you want this? Okay, I'm going to give this to you. And I'm going to give you so much of it, you're going to get sick of it and you're going to gag. Listen. But when Moses responded to Yahuwah, there are 600,000 foot soldiers here with me, and yet you say, I would give them meat for a whole month? Even if we butchered all our flocks and herds, would that satisfy them? Even if we caught all the fish in the sea, would that be enough? Then Yahuwah said to Moses, has my arm lost its power? Now you will see whether or not my word comes true. So Moses went out and reported the words of Yahuwah to the camp. They were listed among the elders, but had not gone out of the tabernacle. Yet the Spirit rested upon them. I'm sorry. Hold on. I done skipped. Okay. I'm sorry. I scrolled too fast and skipped. So Moses went out and reported Yahuwah's word to the people. He gathered the 70 elders and stationed them around the tabernacle. And Yahuwah came down in the cloud and spoke to Moses. He gave the 70 elders the same spirit that was upon Moses. And when the spirit rested upon them, they prophesied. But this never happened again. 2 men, Eldad and Medad, had stayed behind in the camp. They were listed among the elders, but had not gone out of the tabernacle. Yet the Spirit rested upon them as well. So they prophesied there in the camp. A young man ran and reported to Moses, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. Joshua, the son of Nun, who had been Moses' assistant since his youth, protested, Moses, my master, make them stop. But Moses replied, are you jealous for my sake? I wish that all Yahuwah's people were prophets, and that Yahuwah would put his spirit upon all of them. Then Moses returned to the camp with the elders of Israel. Now Yahuwah sent a wind that brought quail from the sea and let them fall all around the camp. For miles in every direction, there were quail flying about 3 feet above the ground, so that the people went out and caught quail all day and throughout the night and all the next day too. None gathered less than 50 bushels, and they spread the quail all around the camp to dry. But while they were gorging themselves on the meat, while it was still in their mouths, the anger of Yahuwah blazed against the people, and he struck them with a severe plague. So that place was called Kibroth Hatava, which means graves of gluttony, because there they buried the people who had craved meat from Egypt. From Kibroth Hatava, the Israelites traveled to Hazeroth, where they stayed for some time. And let me tell y'all, like I done told y'all before, when Yahuwah gathers us, he regathers us. And we happen to be in the wilderness, y'all bet not, I'm telling you. But as sure as I know my name is Pam and I was born a female, it's going to be rebels among us that's going to be doing this. How do I know this, you ask? Because it tells us this in the books of the prophets. And he ain't talking about this first time. He said, when I regather them at the end of the days of their captivity, he said, I am going to bring them here to the same place where your forefathers met with me. Like, we're going to meet with him again at the same place. How it's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know all the details of all that, but I know we're going to be in that same place where our ancestors was at, and he's going to meet with us face to face. You know what he said? He said, I personally am going to weed out the rebels among you. He said, I'm going to deal with them myself. I'm going to deal with them myself. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be you craving for the meat and all the dainties of America, right? And wherever you scattered, whether you're Europe, because Europe got dainties, everywhere there's excess for us, for ourselves to gorge ourselves on, where we can do what thou wilt, right? But I'm telling y'all better get it under control. I'm telling you, if you don't know how to fast, you better start practicing a life of fasting, just learning how to put this to death, allowing your spirit to take charge and to run everything and not your flesh, because this flesh, it'll get us in trouble all the time if we let it. So your spirit must be built up and be way stronger than your fleshly cravings, right? Get the weight under control, what we watch under control, what we listen to under control, what we speak out of our mouths under control. We can do it with the power of the Most Holy. He helps us, right? Last chapter for today in Numbers chapter 12. While they were at Hazeroth, Miriam and Aaron criticized Moses because he had married a Cushite woman. They said, has Yahuwah spoken only through Moses? Hasn't he spoken through us too? But Yahuwah heard them. Now Moses was very humble, more humble than any other person on earth. So immediately Yahuwah called to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam and said, go out to the temple, all three of you. So the three of them went to the tabernacle, and Yahuwah descended in a pillar of a cloud and stood at the entrance of the tabernacle. Aaron and Miriam, like, just think about it. When they call you by your name, oh shoot, you know you in trouble now. Aaron and Miriam, he called, and they stepped forward. And Yahuwah said to them, now listen to what I say. If there were prophets among you, I, Yahuwah, would reveal myself in visions. I would speak to them in dreams, but not with my servant Moses. Of all my house, he is the one I trust. I speak to him face to face, clearly, and not in riddles. He sees me as I am. So why are you not afraid to criticize my servant Moses? Yahuwah was very angry with them, and he departed. As the cloud moved from above the tabernacle, there stood Miriam, her skin as white as snow from leprosy. When Aaron saw what happened to her, he cried out to Moses, oh, my master, please don't punish us for this sin we have so foolishly committed. Don't let her be like a stillborn baby already decayed at birth. So Moses cried out to Yahuwah, oh, Yah, I beg you, please heal her. But Yahuwah said to Moses, if her father had done nothing more than spit in her face, wouldn't she be defiled for 7 days? So keep her outside the camp for 7 days, and after that she may be accepted back. So Miriam was kept outside the camp for 7 days, and the people waited until she was brought back before they traveled again. Then they left Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. I look at this like this. It's like my mama always say, all is she here. All it's gonna take is one public flogging to get everybody back in line. Like, oh, we got to make an example of somebody. Yes, his own brother and sister. Like, come on, y'all. Out of everybody, y'all should have been the ones that kept y'all cool, right? Because I'm sure Moses shared everything with y'all. Like, Moses and Aaron were like the best of buddies, and they was brothers. We learned about that by reading through here. Like, when they finally met, they shared, they talked about everything. Moses shared everything with Aaron, right? Like, you got to know his sister was there, right? Like, you know all this. Why would you even dare? Like, you get jealous. It's like people like, oh, you see it a lot of time upon people that I'll say, I ain't gonna, they may be prophets. I don't know, but I say the ones who give themselves a title prophet, because it's like if you're a prophet or if you carry a title, you don't need to tell anybody, right? Like, how you walk and carry yourself will demand the authority and the recognition. If you're walking appropriately according to your office, you never have to tell, you really never have to open in your mouth to tell anybody or give them your title, right? They will soon be aware of it without you even have to say anything. Like, you can just say, oh, what is your name? Oh, my name is Pam, you know. Oh, then once people begin to recognize it, they may add a title or whatever. You could very well know what your title is, but a lot of time you see people super spiritual, overly spiritual. I am prophet so and so, and you will address me as such. I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, ooh, no, you not. And I can always tell. And they listen, they very well could be, but they could really be on their high horse at this point. And I can tell with that attitude, bro, there's a ditch ahead of you, and you going head first fast. You speeding up into that ditch. Like, you can clear people like that. It's like, oh, I'm apostle, I'm evangelist, such and such. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna head out. Because I know you, my dear friend, are in trouble with the Most Holy, with that attitude. And because it's not you. If Yahuwah decides that he's going to bless you and he's going to give you this position or whatever you want to call it, you need to make sure you keep yourself in order. And right now, that don't seem like that's what's happening. Either you are an imposter or you have turned away from the most holy, right? And you are doing illegal things in the land. All right, y'all. Okay, so let's hop on over to the Legends of the Jews. We have 35 minutes. Okay, so we are on page 280. If you're on the same, if you have the same size book as I do, if you have the smaller version, which is the same words, but the pages are different because the pages are smaller, it is volume 3, and the title of it is Moses is blamed for Israel's sin. Okay. All right, y'all. When the people turned from Yahuwah, he said to Moses, who was still in heaven, "Get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves." Moses, who then had been superior to the angels, now, owing to the sins of Israel, feared them greatly. So remember, I know we just came back from the Sabbath day resting, and we didn't read. So if you weren't here, just really quick, Moses, while he's up on the mountain, remember he was transported to heaven. So these 40 days that he was on the mountain, he was actually in heaven receiving the Torah, right? So at the end of this, we realized the day he was coming back, the people thought he was dead because Satan showed this mirage to the people, and they saw Moses dead, but he wasn't really dead, but it was Satan tricking them, right? And so they say, "Aaron, you got to make us a calf." So this is what's happening right here. And as Moses is getting ready to descend down, Yahuwah say, "Look, I'm pissed. The people, they have given lie to the word, and they're now worshiping golden calf. You got to get down there," right? Okay, so that's where we at. Now I'll start back over. When the people turned from Yahuwah, he said to Moses, who was still in heaven, "Go, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves." Moses, who until then had been superior to the angels, now, owing to the sins of Israel, feared them greatly. The angels, hearing that Yahuwah meant to send him from his presence, wanted to kill him, and only by clinging to the throne of Yahuwah, who covered him with his mantle, did he escape from the hands of the angels that they might do him no harm. He had particularly hard struggle with the 5 angels of destruction, Kizeth, Af, Hema, Mashit, and Haran, whom Yahuwah had sent to annihilate Israel. Moses then hastened to the 3 patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and said to them, "If ye are men who are participators of the future life, stand by me in this hour, for your children are as sheep that is led to the slaughter." The three patriarchs united their prayers with those of Moses, who said to Yahuwah, "Hast thou not made a vow to these 3 to multiply their seed as the stars? And are they now to be destroyed?" In recognition of the merits of these 3 pious men, Yahuwah called away 3 of the angels of destruction, leaving only 2, whereupon Moses further importuned Yahuwah, "For the vow thou made to Israel, take from them the angel Mashit." And Yahuwah granted his prayer. Moses continued, "For the vow thou madest me, take from them also the angel Haran." Yahuwah now stood by Moses so that he was able to conquer this angel, and he thrust him down deep into the earth in a spot that is possession of the tribe of Gad, and there held him captive. So long as Moses lived, this angel was held in check by him, and if he tried, even when Israel sinned, to rise out of the depths, open wide his mouth, and destroy Israel with his panting, all Moses had to do was utter the name of Yahuwah, and Haran, or as he is sometimes called Peor, was drawn once more into the depths of the earth. At Moses' death, Yahuwah buried him opposite the spot where Peor is bound. For should Peor, if Israel sinned, reach the upper world and open his mouth to destroy Israel with his panting, he would, upon seeing Moses' grave, be so terror-stricken that he would fall back into the depths once more. Moses did indeed manage the angels of destruction, but it was once but it was a more difficult matter to appease Yahuwah in his wrath. He addressed Moses harshly, crying, "The grievous sins of men had once caused me to go down from heaven to see their doings. Do thou likewise go down from heaven now." And he talking about with Sodom and Gomorrah. Yahuwah himself came down. Like Yahuwah was in a habit. See, I'm just gonna say this. Yahuwah has been in the habit of leaving heaven, coming down personally when the cries of the people that live here get so bad, or let's just say the cries of his people. When the cries of his people get so bad and so loud that he himself has said, "I'm gonna go down. I hear y'all reports, the reports from the angels. I'm gonna go down myself." And he himself went down with three of the angels, and we know two of them. One was Michael, one was Gabriel, and the other one, I forget the name, is back here. I forget the third angel who went down, but all of them went down, right? Two of them went ahead, one stayed, and Yahuwah was talking to Abraham during this time. But right here, he said, when he's talking about right here, it caused me once to go down. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. Moses did indeed manage the angels of destruction, but it was a more difficult matter to appease Yahuwah in his wrath. He addressed Moses harshly, crying, "The grievous sins of men had once caused me to go down from heaven to see their doings. Do thou likewise and go down from heaven now. It is fitting that the servant be treated as his master. Do thou now go down. Only for Israel's sake have I caused this honor to fall to thy lot. But now Israel has become disloyal to me. I have no further reason thus to distinguish thee." Moses hereupon answered, "O Lord of the world, not long since thou didst say to me, Come now, therefore, and I will send thee that thou mayest bring forth my people out of Egypt. And now thou call them my people? Nay, whether pious or sinful, they are thy people still." Moses continued, "What wilt thou now do with them?" Yahuwah answered, "I will consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation." He said, "You know what? I'm sick of all of them." He said, "I'm going to kill all of them. We're going to start over with you, Moses." Right? When we just write in Numbers, there's another situation. Aaron and Miriam, right? Miriam complained that he married a Cushite woman. Yahuwah's like, "Listen, your people, they my people? Oh, most holy, did I deliver them? I think these are your people, Okay. What will thou now do with them? Yahuwah answered, "I will consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation." "O Lord of the world," replied Moses, "if the three-legged bench has no stability, how then the one-legged stand? Fulfill not, I implore thee, the prophecies of the Egyptian magicians who predicted to their king that the star of Ra would move as a harbinger of blood and death before the Israelites." Then he began to implore mercy for Israel. "Consider their readiness to accept Torah, whereas the sons of Esau rejected it." Yahuwah, "But they transgressed the precepts of Torah. One day they were loyal to me, then instantly set to work to make themselves the golden calf." Moses, "Consider that when in thy name I came to Egypt and announced to them thy name, they at once believed me and bowed down their heads to worship thee." Yahuwah, "But now they bow down their heads before their idol." Moses, "Consider that they sent their young men off to offer thee burnt offerings." Yahuwah, "They now offer sacrifices to the golden calf." Moses, "Consider that on Sinai they acknowledge that thou art their God." Yahuwah, "They now acknowledge the idol is their God." Whew. Moses trying everything. Well, what about this? Yahuwah said, "Well, they did this." "Well, what about that?" "They did that." "Well, what about this?" "They did this." "Well, what about that?" Look at what they're doing now. All these arguments with Yahuwah did not help Moses. He even had to put up with having the blame for the golden calf laid on his shoulders. "Moses," said Yahuwah, "when Israel was still in Egypt, I gave thee the commission to lead them out of the land, but not take with thee the mixed multitude that wanted to join them." Listen to this, y'all. This is why Yahuwah said, "You must keep yourselves aloof from all the other nations. Like, you can't. And no matter how good you think they are, he said, do not mix with them, because it's always some ugly head that rears up that gets everybody off. Some people start listening. Listen to what he said, because there should not have been a mixed crowd that came out of Egypt with Israel. It should have been Israel alone, right? But because Israel, we love people. Oh, bring them to. They've been so good to us. Bring them to. Oh, bring my master. My master has always been good to me. Can he come? Listen, pay attention, y'all. All these arguments with Yahuwah did not help Moses. He even had to put up with having the blame for the golden calf laid on his shoulders. Moses, said Yahuwah, when Israel was still in Egypt, I gave thee the commission to lead them out of the land, but not to take with thee the mixed multitude that wanted to join them. But thou in thy clemency and thou humility did persuade me to accept the penitent that do penance, and did take with thee the mixed multitude. He said, I listened to you. You said, but they repentant, they sorry, so can they come? He said, because we had this conversation based on what you said, and they repentant, I allowed them. I answered your prayer. I said, yeah, go ahead. You can let them go. Listen. But thou in thy clemency and humility did persuade me to accept the penitent that do penance, and did take with thee the mixed multitude. I did as thou did beg me, although I knew what the consequences would be. And it is now these people, thy people, that have seduced Israel to idolatry. Moses now thought it would be useless to try to secure Yahuwah's forgiveness for Israel, and was ready to give up his intercession, when Yahuwah, who in reality meant to preserve Israel, but only liked to hear Moses pray, now spoke kindly to Moses to let him see that he was not quite inaccessible to his exhortations, saying, even in Egypt did I foresee what this people would do after their deliverance. Thou foresaw only the receiving of the Torah on Sinai, but I foresaw the worship of the calf as well. With these words, Yahuwah let Moses perceive the defection of Israel was no surprise to him, as he had considered it even before the exodus from Egypt. Hence, Moses now gathered new courage to intercede for Israel. He said, O Lord of the world, Israel has indeed created a rival for thee in their idol, that thou art angry with them. The calf, I suppose, shall be its stars and moon to appear, while thou did make the sun to rise. Thou shalt send the dew, and he will cause the wind to blow. Thou shalt send down the rain, and he shall bid the plants to grow. Yahuwah, Moses, thou art mistaken like them, and knowest not that the idol is absolutely nothing. If so, said Moses, why art thou angry with thy people for that which is nothing? Besides, he continued, thou didst say thyself that it was chiefly my people, the mixed multitude, that was to blame for the sin. Why then art thou angry with thy people? If thou art angry with only them because they have not observed the Torah, then let me vouch for the observance of it on the part of my companions, such as Aaron and his sons, Joshua, Caleb, Jair, and Machir, as well as many pious men among them and myself. But Yahuwah said, I have vowed that he that sacrificed unto any god, save unto me only, shall be utterly destroyed. And a vow that has once passed my lips, I cannot retract. Moses replied, O Lord of the world, hast not thou given us the law of absolution from a vow, whereby power is given to a learned man to absolve anyone from his vows? But every judge who desires to have his decision accounted valid must subject himself to the law. And thou who hast prescribed the law of absolution from vows through a learned man must subject thyself to this law. And through me be exalted from thy law. Moses thereupon wrapped his robe about him seated himself. I love you, baby. I say, seated himself and bade Yahuwah let him exalt him from his vow, bidding him say, I repent of the evil that I had determined to bring upon my people. Moses then cried out to him, Thou art absolved from thine oath and thy law. Y'all get what he just said? He said, listen, he said, Moses, think about Esther, right? Remember the decree that had gone out from the king after Haman with all his shenanigans behind the scene, coaxed the king into creating this law to destroy all of Israel, right? And so once Esther had began to pray and they were fasting and stuff, and the king said, he said, listen, I've already issued this decree. And he said, once the decree has gone out, I cannot backtrack on my word, right? He said, but there is another law. It's like this same law, right? It's like a law that supersedes this law. Remember how I say you can't violate this law, but you can get another law that works in conjunction with this law and kind of supersede it and still continue to bring life, like the laws of aerodynamics and gravity, right? We use that example. It's like same principle here, right? He said, but you can now write another law. Another law can be written that supersedes this law, where I will now allow all of Israel to begin to protect themselves. Whereas this law, on this day, all of Israel shall be destroyed. We'll write another law that Israel can now defend themselves and anybody can help them, right? So all of Israel was saved that day. Even the people that were originally going to help destroy them, they joined sides with Israel because they realized Israel outnumbered them, and they had a decree from the king that they could fight back and kill those who were coming against them. So they decided to adjust their thinking that we're going to join Israel on this, and all of Israel was destroyed. And Haman, and I'm sorry, that's not what I meant to say. All of Israel was saved, and Haman and his household, all his sons, they were destroyed, and they were hung on the very gallows that they had created to kill Israel, to hang Mordecai on, right? All of them that day, they were destroyed, and all of Israel was saved, right? Okay, it's the same law. Yahuwah said, listen, once this law has gone out for me, he said, I can't change it. He said, I've already set it in motion. He said, but there is another way. He said, if there is someone who is learned, a man who is learned in the scriptures, like someone who can kind of sit there and absolve him and kind of go back and forth with him on the law, he said, then it's that man who can exalt. He said, now he has created someone he can pretty much go to and kind of like, for lack of better words, repent to this person who completely understands the law through and through. Why? Because Moses was taught directly by Yahuwah, right? So they're going back and forth having this conversation about this. And so Moses said, well, I am that, all the people on earth, I am that learned man. He said, I can absolve you from this vow that you made. That's why I said Moses sat down. He draped his robe around him like he was a judge. And Yahuwah said, I repent of this. And Moses said, you are absolved from your vow. Now let's get to moving. Let's move on to the next part. Let me read this over for you again. Listen. Moses, hold on. Let me go back up here. But Yahuwah said, I have vowed that he that sacrifice unto any God, save unto Yahuwah only, he shall be utterly destroyed. And a vow that has once passed my lips, I cannot retract. Moses replied, O Lord of the world, hast thou not given us a law of absolution from a vow, whereby power is given to a learned man to absolve anyone from his vows? But every judge who desires to have his decisions accounted valid must subject himself to the law. And thou who hast prescribed the law of absolution from vows through a learned man must subject thyself to this law, and through me be exalted from thy vow. He said, so even this law you have created, you must subject your own self to, right? So Yahuwah said, you've been paying attention, boy. Listen, but every judge, and Yahuwah is a judge and he prescribes laws, right? But every judge who desires to have his decision accounted valid must subject himself to the law. And thou who hast prescribed the law of absolution from vows through a learned man must subject thyself to this law. and through me be absolved from thy vow. Moses thereupon wrapped his robe about him, seated himself, and bade Yahuwah let him absolve him from his vow, bidding him say, I repent of the evil that I had determined to bring upon my people. Moses then cried out to him, Thou art absolved from thine oath and vow. Boy, I love the conversation and relationship between these two where they can just go back and forth and just have these conversations, right? Okay. We're going to read this next little section and then we're going to stop right here. The punishment of the sinners. When Moses descended from Sinai, he there found his true servant Joshua, who had awaited him on the slope of the mountain throughout all the 40 days during which Moses stayed in heaven, and together they repaired to the encampment. On approaching it, they heard cries of the people, and Joshua remarked to Moses, There is a noise of war in the camp. But Moses replied, Is it possible that thou, Joshua, who art one day destined to be the leader of 60 myriads of people, cannot distinguish among the different kinds of dens? This is no cry of Israel conquering, nor of their defeated foe, but their adoration of an idol. When Moses had now come close enough to the camp to see what was going on there, he thought to himself, How now shall I give to them the tables and enjoin upon them the prohibition of idolatry, for the very trespassing of which heaven will inflict capital punishment upon them? Hence, instead of delivering them the tablets, he tried to turn back, but the 70 elders pursued him and tried to wrest the tables from Moses. But his strength excelled all that of the 70 others, and he kept the tables in his hands, although these were 70 seah in weight. All at once, however, he saw the writing vanish from the tables, and at the same time became aware of their enormous weight. For while the celestial writing was upon, they carried their own weight and did not burden Moses. But with the disappearance of the writing, all this changed. Now, all the more did Moses feel loath to give the tables without their contents to Israel. And besides, he thought, if Yahuwah prohibited one idolatrous Israelite from partaking of the Passover feast, how much more would he be angry if I were now to give all the Torah to an idolatrous people? Hence, without consulting Yahuwah, he broke the tables. Yahuwah, however, thanked Moses for breaking the tables. Hardly had Moses broken the tables when the ocean wanted to leave its bed and flood the world. Moses now took the calf which they had made and burned it in the fire, ground it to powder, and strewed it upon the water, saying to the waters, What would ye upon the dry land? And the water said, The world stands only through the observance of the Torah, but Israel has not been faithful to it. Moses hereupon said to the water, All that have committed idolatry shall be yours. Are you now satisfied with these thousands? But the waters were not to be appeased by the sinners that Moses cast into them, and the ocean would not retreat to its bed until Moses made all the children of Israel drink it. Remember back in Exodus, when he came down, it tells you how he ground it up and he put it in the water and made all of them drink. This is giving more detail on what actually happened there after they drank it, right? Listen. The drink of these waters is just like the woman who committed adultery, or we wanted to see if the husband wanted to see if his wife had been unfaithful, right? They wrote it down, and then it was what was it? It was anyway. There was the covenant that was written out, and anyway, it was ground up and it was put in the water and it was made bitter, and a woman was to drink all of it, and if she was guilty, the curse that was written on that would begin to happen to her in her body. Her belly would bloat, her thigh would rot, right? She would be barren all the days of her life. Her husband would be vindicated that, yes, your woman, although you couldn't tell, she was doing it in secret and you didn't really know for real. So you had to come before the priest to find out, okay, we need to bring this before the Most Holy because I think she lied. I really don't have any kind of proof, but I know something is happening, so You need to let me know if it's just me, or if I'm just being jealous, or I'm doing too much, or if she truly has been unfaithful, right? And we know that works with men and women. So if she was innocent, nothing would happen to her, right? The same thing is about to happen here. Listen to this. Let me go back up right here. Let me just go back up to where it started. Hardly had Moses broken the tables when the ocean wanted to leave its bed to flood the world. Moses now took the calf which they had made and burned it in a fire, ground it to powder, and strewed it upon the water, saying to the waters, "Would ye upon the dry land?" And the water said, "The world stands only through the observance of the Torah, but Israel has not been faithful to it." Moses hereupon said to the water, all that have committed idolatry shall be yours. Are you satisfied now with these thousands? But the water was not to be appeased by the sinners that Moses cast into them. And the ocean would not retreat into its bed until Moses made the children of Israel drink of it. The drinking of these waters was one of the forms of capital punishment that he inflicted upon the sinners when, in the answer to Moses' call, "Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me." All the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. They who had not taken part in the adoration of the golden calf. Moses appointed these Levites as the judges, whose immediate duty it was to inflict the lawful punishment of decapitation upon all those who had seen by witnesses to be seduced to the idolatry after they had been warned not to do so. Moses gave the command as though he had been commissioned by Yahuwah to do so. This was not actually so, but he did it in order to enable the judges appointed by him to punish all the guilty in the course of one day, which otherwise, owing to the procedure of Jewish jurisprudence, could not well have been possible. Those who, according to the testimony of witnesses, had been seduced to idolatry, but who could not be proven to have been warned beforehand, were not punished by temporal justice. They died of the water that Moses forced them to drink, for this water had upon them the same effect as the curse. Ooh, didn't I just say that? And I forgot this was here. Listen, for this water had upon them the same effect as the curse bringing water upon the adulterous woman. But those sinners too, against whom no witnesses appeared, did not escape their fate, for upon them Yahuwah had sent the plague to carry them off. So some people think they slick and gonna get away with, oh, there was no witnesses that saw us, and you think you escaped this? No, the next plague gonna catch you. If you are truly guilty, you gonna get got, right? You think you slick. You think you slick. Okay. We'll be at 102. Guys, we're gonna stop right here. We're gonna stop right here. We're gonna pick this up tomorrow where Moses intercedes for the people, right? Okay. We'll pick this back up tomorrow, y'all. Because it's going into a little bit more detail of the punishment of the golden calf. But anyway, we'll pick that back up tomorrow. So we read Legends of the Jews. We started on page 280 and we stopped on page 282. And we read Numbers 10, 11, and 12. Y'all, it is Friday. Free your mind Friday, Shayla. February the 5th, 2021, day 69 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 738. All right, y'all. And remember, the 738 day count is without the Sabbaths added to them or the feast day Sabbaths where we are commanded to rest on these days. So while doing this, I found it appropriate that we practice the law of the Sabbath by resting on the Sabbath. Although we're reading the scriptures, and I think they should be read every day, but so we can tangibly and you can see that we're operating in this principle, you can still read on the Sabbath on your own time. But because we're doing it every day, and like I've taken up this post, it's like a normal form of work of duty for me. So although I still read it while I'm not online, I just don't read it out loud. So I have something that I can show you, we can kind of like put into place tangibly so you can see where we are practicing this, right? You know, because it's work to get up early to join us, especially if you're not already up and you got to go to work. It's work for you to get up to come join. And it's only a handful of people that join, but throughout the day, those that aren't here live, they normally pick it up later in the day and watch it, or when they get off of work or what have you, right? So I wanted to find some way where we could practice this principle, and we decided to do it that way. And I felt like I was supposed to have been doing it that way anyway. So we've been doing it like that from the very beginning. I want to say the first 2 weeks when we started 3 years ago, we was reading every day, Sunday through Saturday. And then as I started going over this, I was like, "Ooh, Father, I think we probably should be practicing this, right? Like resting, So, and that's like 2 weeks in, 3 years ago. That's when we started practicing resting on the Sabbath day, right? So that's why we do it. Okay, y'all. So let's go ahead and go on over here to the blessing, which is found in Numbers chapter 6, right? Okay, it's verses 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazirite vow, and man or woman can take the Nazirite vow. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. That is all. So I'm checking over. Thank you for joining us today, Josiah. Shalom, family. I am new to your channel. I know I said it earlier, but thank you for joining. I know I don't see everybody that joins on. I only see the people really who actually come in and comment. So, but thank you everybody for joining today. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me while I stand my post. Okay. All right. So if there are, I'm checking over here on Facebook, scrolling through. Okay, since there are no more questions or anything, we're going to go ahead and get out of here and get about our day. And I will see you all back here tomorrow, Saturday. Remember the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. If the Sabbath doesn't fall on those days, we meet here at 7:30. I'll let y'all sleep in like 15 more minutes, right? So we're here at 7:30 on Saturday and Sundays if it's not the Sabbath. All right, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But all right, y'all, that's it. I'll see y'all in the morning. You're welcome, Levine. You're welcome. All right, y'all, we out of here. I'm going to start my book. Love y'all.